And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again another day committed to being your consumer advocate. It's all about helping you understand your buying decisions here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got our real estate experts on the panel today. In studio with me, Ray Hall. Ray Hall Appraisals. Welcome in, sir.
Thank you for having me. I like this setup. I feel like I'm on the morning talk show.
That's right.
This is cool. I like it.
That's right. That's right. Tampa Bay, all things Tampa Bay here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and also trends happening. It's trends that we're seeing nationwide. Unemployment hit 36 million this week, and lots of things happening with the global pandemic and how it's kind of winding down. Schools are, Trump wants schools to open back up. He's not yet. There's businesses opening up. So we're going to talk about how that affects us locally and what you can do here on a local level to help you understand your buying decisions. Save our hotline number in your phone at some point. You may need it. 813-670-7372. And that's our consumer advocate hotline. It's an off-air number. We urge you to implore you to reach out. We can connect you with 80 plus show partners, categories, ways that we can be a consumer advocate right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. ConsumerQB.com is the website as well. ConsumerQB.com. A plethora of information available for you there on our website. And we got Ray Hall in studio, but also going to the Zoom. We've got Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Welcome, Diane.
Hey, Brandon. Hi. Welcome. I'm happy to be back and every week and really enjoy the show. And I'm going to talk a little bit about mortgage-backed securities and what the future might look for housing and interest rates. It looks like it's very favorable.
Very good. Yeah, mortgage-backed securities. A lot of folks don't understand the backside of these loans. Right. They just know about getting the home and what they have to do to qualify for that mortgage, providing bank statements, W-2s, et cetera. But on the backside, these loans are packaged up as an investment opportunity, mortgage-backed securities, and sold on a secondary market. So Diane's going to be able to explain a little bit deeper on how that's shoring up. Hopefully the liquidity's back in some of those markets. And also William Crowley, the credit magician, back on the show. William, how you doing today, sir?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. I want to talk a little bit about collections, especially in these dire times where people aren't able to pay their bills. There is recourse. So don't fret if you're not able to pay the bills. But of course, we want you to pay them. But if you can't, there's a way out. So I'll talk a little bit about collections today and how we can deal with the collectors.
Credit improvement expert on the show, William Crowley, the credit magician, back on the show. All right, so we got a great lineup for you here. It's our real estate expert panel. It's our A team when it comes to real estate specific. Ray's going to talk about values here on the show, and I might talk a little bit about negotiation strategy in our lightning round. We also have our feel good story of the day coming up. Teen finds $130,000 next to an ATM and turns it in. So, all right, stay with us right here on the show. So let's jump into it. So we're going to go to Diane Vance here, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Let's jump into that, Diane. Mortgage-backed securities, there's a lot of uncertainty still with the loan origination side, FHA, conventional VA. People are still a little bit nervous on, what can I actually qualify for? So maybe we could start there, what's going on with the loan origination side.
So for people listening, mortgage-backed securities actually set the interest rates, and the federal government is actually going in to help with the mortgage-backed securities so it stays fluid. However, the forbearance that is being allowed has caused some confusion, I guess is the best word. So the people that you pay your payments to may not get paid. So that has caused some tightening. However, it's not passed yet, but in the CARES, a new CARES Act, additional one, there is some relief possibly for servicing companies for people that do go into forbearance that should actually really loosen up things. Things have loosened up somewhat. So what happens is if you can't have somebody service your loans, or if you can't sell the paper on this secondary market is the ones that actually combine them together and sell them. And the bundle is what Brandon was talking about earlier, and so that's actually can cause some rift in the markets, and it can cause some confusion, and people are more apt to increase credit scores. Lenders are, but we're seeing it's calming down. It's not as we were getting changes every single day, but now it's calming down somewhat. The good news is that I belong to mortgage-backed securities, MBS Highway. And they were talking about forecasts for next year. They're talking about in 2021 that they feel like home values will go up 5%. So right now, people are kind of uncertain of what's going to happen. And a lot of people, at least we've seen that. I don't know if you've seen it in your world yet, Brandon, but we've seen some people coming in thinking that they can maybe get lower prices, but it's a supply and demand situation. We still
Yes.
don't have enough houses on the market. We have more buyers than sellers currently, which has been a problem for a few years, and it still is that way. We still don't have enough houses on the market. So sellers, it's still a seller's market. So
Yes.
if people want to list, they probably should list, start thinking about if they want to sell, start, getting that house on the market. Because, and people that want to buy, that way, you're going to have some more inventory to offer. And, people are loosening up. They are getting out. I have a lot of customers actually doing video zooming in the houses or doing videos to look at houses. I've actually had one customer actually purchase their house that way. So a lot of different ways to do things than we've ever done before. Interest rates are very, very low. So it's a great time to actually buy. You're going to get more for your money. They are predicting interest rates are going to stay low, but you're definitely going to get more for your money now than you could have, let's say, a year ago. So it's a great time to buy. 124 million households. Out of that households, 43.4% actually rent. 43.4 million people actually rent. 80.6 million own, and of those owners, 34% of those are free and clear. So they're clearly could move up, buyers that have a big down payment. And 53 million households, 53% of that has a 53% has a 50% loan to value. So there is a lot of liquidity in the housing market. So what happened in 2008, 2009 is not going to happen, because what happened, everybody is so fearful of that, but that is not what's happening here, because the housing market back then was overinflated and not strong today, and it was quite leveraged. And today it is not that way. So it is a great time to buy. The future looks bright. Millennials are having children. They're starting to want to move. They're starting to want to move the suburbs. So there's a lot of opportunities in the future for everybody in the real estate world. And anybody that wants to purchase, you can make that plan. If you're not working right now, when you go back to work, you will be able to purchase a home. Or if you have less hours, there's some things that we're doing. So they're giving some directions from the secondary market of different ways and different things during this pandemic. But it is we're not having as many changes as we were. So it's a market that is starting to stabilize. So we're seeing more and more customers be able to qualify. So it's a great time to just check it out. And again, it has to be a plan. If it's not now, it's not if, it's when. So if I had a customer that just this week that she actually was laid off, wasn't furloughed. She actually was laid off. She'd worked there for a very long time. However, we were talking, and what they wanted to buy, her husband qualified on his own. So don't assume because one of your spouses, one of the buyers, actually, let's not assume that you cannot qualify, because you still may be able to qualify. She has a severance package. She is planning on going back to work, but we qualified with just one income. So it was very surprising to her. So don't assume until you talk to a professional about qualifying for a home. Don't assume your credit report is, your credit is not good enough until you talk to myself or William. So just don't assume things. Make sure you check it out before you actually just assume that you can't do something, because there's a possibility that you can.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking with Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, DianeVance.com. Local lender, support the local economy, a long history of being on time with closings, getting deals done, competitive interest rates, top 5 lender in the country. And later in the show, too, Diane, I want to talk about this. A special analysis done by Flex Jobs and Global Workplace Analytics found that there's been a major upward trend in the amount of people working remotely in the United States over the past year. The numbers grew from 2016 to 2017. Remote work grew 7.9%. Over the past 5 years, up 44%. So that's going to have a trend on the urban areas, maybe moving more to suburban. And I think also the coronavirus is having a trend of that, as you see New York with 26,000 deaths as of this show, and Florida having around 1,600 deaths. So it's a big discrepancy.
A big difference
with international flights and public transportation. So we're going to dive a little deeper into that and some of the trends on here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Coming up as well, William Crowley, the credit magician, Ray Hall here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, Ray Hall Appraisals, and our feel-good story of the day coming at you as well about this teen that finds $135,000 next to an ATM and turns it in. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Follow us online. We would love to connect with you at Brendan Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, the Consumer Quarterback Show, and Platinum MVP Team on Facebook. And we'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Dancing with the Stars.
62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill, but actually it's our 39th week. 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember anymore. I still dream about Florida.
Yes. To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards.
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections for
Backles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left-hand white, and then they catch the left-hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. We've got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step image. I love that name because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. Mm-hmm. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. My wife and I own a top team here in the Tampa Bay area, actually in the top 1% of all realtors in the area, recognized in Florida Realtor Magazine again recently, the May 2020 issue. We were recognized for branding and negotiation and our team approach to our real estate business and of course, giving back locally. And also going to be writing a column or an article, rather, for Real Producers Magazine, which we were featured in as well. So we're going to be doing a monthly magazine piece there for Real Producers Magazine, starting on negotiation, talking a lot about negotiation here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. A couple of hot listings for you here. I wanted to let you know about some properties that we've got listed here in Tampa Bay. We got a property at 520 George Street South, Tarpon Springs. This is right on Lake Tarpon. And it's a gorgeous property. The owners are motivated. They did a price reduction down to $499,000. You've got your own private dock, a mother-in-law suite, great rental opportunity as well, right on Lake Tarpon, which is a 2,500-acre lake right here in beautiful Tampa Bay, close to the beaches, close to, of course, all the shopping as well that you would expect here in Tampa Bay. Also, 422 Wildwood Way in Bel Air. This is a gorgeous home, completely renovated, $100,000 plus renovation recently done to update it and also add lush tropical landscaping. It's a fenced-in backyard, close to a lot of great golfing and clubhouses, and of course the beaches of the Intercoastal Waterways. Check out all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And want to give a shout out to Maher Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show is the Maher Beach Resort on Gulf Boulevard and Treasure Island. They've got 2 pools on site, Sloppy Joe's Beach Bar and Restaurant, 2 Beer Beach. Clyde Smith, the general manager, says you got 2 Beer Beach there. It takes you 2 beers to walk all the way down to the beach. And it's a great time. You know, I love going down there and visiting, taking my family down, having friends over to the pool, or just hanging out around the campfire and enjoying the live music. Check out the Maher Beach Resort. Let them know that the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Book directly. Give Clyde Smith, the general manager, a call and let him know that you heard about the show, and he's going to offer you some special incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And let's jump right back into it. So we heard from Diane. Diane was talking about some trends that she's seeing in the mortgage space and what's happening in that area. Let's go to William Crowley now. He's our credit expert. What are you seeing on the credit side, William? How are you seeing more collections? Are people getting to somewhat of a free pass here since COVID and coronavirus has hit? What are you seeing?
Well, it's not a free pass. It's actually it's there in good and bad times. It's just that I think it's more illuminated now, and I just want to make sure people are aware of this. That I know people are going to fall behind on their bills, and I work closely with Diane's clients on this as well. That I tell people never ever ignore a collector, but never ever pay a collector. A lot of these accounts that people are having is probably they're with the pandemic going on, short on money. That's the last thing to get attention. So if you don't pay on these bills for like usually 90 to 180 days, they're going to charge off through the original creditor. Now, don't feel bad because the original creditor has been satisfied. The debt's been satisfied once the original creditor charges off. It's a write-off, it's tax write-off, insurance claim, insurance write-off, whatever you want to call it. But the original creditor is being taken care of through that charge-off. Now, the collectors in turn buy these debts for pennies on the dollar. And you can tell that there's some foul play here because when the collector sends you the documentation stating that they're assuming this debt and that they want you to confirm the amount owed, and then in the second paragraph is a small little paragraph, and it says, if you wish to dispute the validity of this debt, you may do so within 30 days. Now, right. The reason why they put that in there because they know that you really don't owe that debt. They just bought the debt that has been charged off by the original creditor. So it's satisfied. The collectors just buy them for pennies on the dollar and try to get you to pay these debts. And I tell people, don't ignore the collector when they call. Be courteous and not nice to them. But don't pay that either. So what you want to do is just tell them to send any correspondence they have to you in writing because you don't know who they are. They're calling your house blocked or some unknown number. So you don't know who they are. You need them to identify themselves. And the way that they can identify themselves is to send you documentation in writing. Forget the phone conversation. So send it to me in writing, and I'll be more than happy to settle this matter. When you receive that information in writing, then issue a validation of debt letter to the collector. So the collector now, the validation of debt letter is stipulating, hey, listen, I want to pay this debt, but I need some more information. For instance, I need the original note because I didn't open a contract with you. I did have a contract with the original creditor, but they're no longer contacting me. And you say that you're representing them. So if you're representing them, they should have turned over all the documentation to you, and then I'll be more than happy to satisfy this debt with you. But I would strongly encourage people, if you really are interested in paying the debt, pay it to the original creditor. If you don't believe anything that I'm telling you right now, pay the money to the original creditor. If you call the original creditor, 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, hey, listen, we can't accept that money. They're not going to go into detail, but essentially what they're saying is that the debt's been charged off, it's been satisfied with us, and we're just double dipping. Now we're turning around selling it on the open market for pennies on the dollar, and then we're hoping that consumers don't challenge the debt, they pay it. But that disclosure there should be a red flag for you. When they say to you, if you wish to dispute the validity of this debt, you may do so. So always dispute the validity of something for further clarification. They have to provide the documentation requested. If they don't provide that documentation, then they don't have no grounds to collect on the debt.
Let me ask you this,
and
William.
if they ever take you to go ahead.
Okay, so if I go through that, by the way, we're talking William Crowley, the credit restoration expert on the Consumer Quarterback Show. If you get a call and you say, hey, verified in writing, I want something in writing, issue me a validation of debt, and I would like a copy of the original note. Now, if they provide that copy of the original note, is it okay to assume that, yes, they have bought that debt, or would they need to have a note assigned to them? Is there some type of assignment process?
Right. First of all, you don't want to all you want to do on the phone is to tell them, send it to you in writing. Do not mention any validation of debt, because once you mention the validation of debt, they're not going to send you anything in writing. That scares the heck out of them. So, but what happens is the original creditor, once they charge the debt off, the documents are all destroyed. So they can't give the collector anything. So the collector just has a spreadsheet in front of them, and they're bluffing. Okay, so they're just bluffing about the debt. So when you request a validation of debt in writing, not over the phone, on the phone you want to be nice to these people. Just tell them, hey, send it to me in writing, because I don't know who you are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But also, when you receive that letter in writing, you're giving yourself an additional 30 days. So they have to recontract with you now for an additional 30 days to give you the option whether you want to dispute it or pay it. But let me remind you, they don't have any documentation. They may have copies, but the validation of debt letter says, show me the original debt, show me the original contract. Even the credit reporting agencies, when we're disputing information with the credit reporting agencies, they're supposed to have the original contract. That's part of the verification process when they're putting this documentation on your credit report. They don't have any original contracts. All they're doing is just assuming. But since we as the consumers aren't familiar with the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, Uniform Commercial Code, we're not familiar with hardly any of those documents. We don't know any of our rights. So we're just assuming that whatever the credit reporting agencies or the collectors are asking us or telling us is correct. And it's totally not. They don't have any documentation. And once you request it, they know that they just want to go after the low-hanging fruit, the people that's not going to challenge them. When they see that you're a little bit savvy, a little bit knowledgeable about this, what's going on, they're going to back off. I guarantee you.
Right.
So I hope I answered that question, though.
Yeah. No, that's good information. People need to know that. They need to know that they have rights, and that people can't just contact them and claim that they owe money. That this is outlining a process for them to verify in writing, because everything has to be in writing, and that's a big part of real estate, for example, as well. Whenever you're negotiating a deal, the appraisal came in, the inspection came in, there's issues. Even if you have a verbal conversation, our broker, right, the legal team says, hey, summarize that conversation in an email back to the other agent. That way it's in writing and they confirm it in writing. Otherwise, it's just in the air and nobody can really prove it.
Exactly. And so this also helps both you and Diane with clients. Sometimes they're spending thousands and thousands of dollars on collections when they can really use that money to put down on the property. Okay, so we don't want them just throwing money away frivolously on debt that they really don't owe. Then they can use this money to invest in themselves instead of paying the collection companies who just buying the debt for pennies on the dollar.
Right. Yeah, when you buy the debt on pennies on the dollar, they're banking that, hey, I'm going to be able to collect a certain percentage of these. Some of these people will pay, some of them won't, and they're hoping that they paid only 8 cents per lead or 12 cents, 16 cents per name, and they're able to collect on those. Question for you, William. Let's say we have a buyer that's right on the borderline. I know some of the credit score requirements have increased. Some of the lenders have told me, or Diane said, hey, this has gone up a little bit, the score from, I can't remember if it's 640 to 660 or whatever. Let's say I'm on the borderline. I'm at around a 600 score. I got to get up to a 660. Is that an example? What's an example of how long that might take to improve? And I know there's a lot of variables to that.
Yeah, there are a lot of variables. That's why Diane usually sends over the report, and I look at each report and do a case-by-case scenario. But one thing I don't try to get into the lender's area. As a credit restoration company, our job is just to remove negative information. Diane's going to be the only determining factor for that loan to get approved or not approved. So, but our job is, as we're removing the negatives, we're hoping that the score is going to go up based on the existing positive information. So if you send me a credit report, you say, hey, listen, the threshold was 650. I think it's 650 now, Diane, right?
Maybe.
No, Diane.
650.
Okay. Well, I think it's about
620 on conventional and 640 on government.
Okay. So they come in with a 600, like Brandon says, and they need to get to that 20 or 30 or 40 points. Then what I'm going to do is say, okay, yes, I can get these negatives off, but what positive information do they have on there to stand on once I remove the negatives to justify the score going up? Now, I know Diane does Wayfinder or some type of a simulator that can kind of give us an ideal. But that's the main thing I would be looking for is the positive versus the negative, because our motivation is get that negative off, get as much of that negative off in the short time frame. Now,
William, we got to save that. We got to save that for the next segment, William. William Crowley, Diane Vance, Ray Hall here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We'll be right back after this break. Don't go anywhere.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Dancing with the Stars.
62 who knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill. But actually, it's our 39th week. 62 who knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember you. Ask an attorney about flooring law.
Yes. To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business card database.
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections for
Battles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left hand white, and then they catch the left hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. Got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step image. I love that name because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know.
Welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We really appreciate you taking time and hanging out with us here, talking a little bit about things happening in Tampa Bay on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Real heavy on real estate today, mortgage, finance side, credit improvement side. We're going to talk about appraisal values coming up right here as well with Ray Hall Appraisals on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and the market. What's happening with the real estate market. This segment's brought to you by Replenish IV Solutions, the science of nutritional balance. Reach out to our friends Stephen and Lisa Gunnan, the science of nutritional balance. Let them know that the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives. We're talking about a Maher's cocktail or other types of vitamin infusion drips directly into your bloodstream. It's going to boost your immunity. You're going to feel great. And you're going to have that mental knowledge knowing that you are protecting your body, you're protecting your cells. Reach out to Replenish IV Solutions. They've got 2 locations here in Tampa Bay, and they make house calls, so they will come to your home or office. They've got a certified nurse that will come on out and apply the Maher's cocktail, different vitamin infusion drips. Reach out to Replenish IV Solutions. Make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you so you can take them up on the special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the show. All right, a couple of hot listings here in Tampa Bay. 7171 Millstone Street in Spring Hill. This is a nice opportunity for maybe a first-time buyer, move-up buyer, you're looking at 7171 Millstone Street here because you've got 2 suites. You got 2 master suites, a lot of square footage under air, and just a really cool layout here as well. You got a terrace in the middle there, and just a great opportunity to own corner lot right here in Tampa Bay. Owners motivated, price reduced recently as well. 19206 US Highway 19. This is in Clearwater. This is a corner lot in Clearwater at 19206 US Highway 19 North in Clearwater. Great opportunity for a 1031 exchange, commercial buyer. This is listed over $1 million, so it's a property that's going to have some great value, appreciation value in the future, and it's a car lot that is currently occupied by a large regional car dealership. So reach out for all of our listings. Check out our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, so we're here in studio. We got Ray Hall in the house. Ray Hall Appraisals right here in studio. And Ray, the market, a lot of people say, what is the market? What's going on with the market? That's the question you get. Yeah. It's a detailed question, though. What market are you talking about, right? Residential, commercial, land?
Exactly. And I think we're going to start seeing a lot of different things going on in the market. As we spoke earlier, people are working from home a lot more because of this COVID-19. So we could see that boom in the housing market because people might start moving away from the suburban areas. Here in the Tampa Bay area, some of our highest priced real estate is down near downtown Tampa. People may want to say, well, I want to buy that more economical house, maybe up in the new Tampa area, to save on the bottom line because I don't need to be close to my office anymore because my office is in my house. So you could see that boom in the suburban areas, but now how's that going to affect the office market on the commercial side? And things like that. Certain businesses are going to have physical offices. I know a lot of, lawyers, things like that have sensitive documents that have to be stored. They're going to be keeping their offices, so that'll be safe. But, a lot of these large corporations may find that the employees are productive because they don't have to have that going to work commute and the coming home commute. So they're productive, they're getting the work done, and we're saving money on office space now. So it would be great if we saw it. One thing we've also got going on right now is that low inventory. In fact, I heard recently that there was a 30% drop in listings at some point in the market here in Tampa Bay. And, you hear drop and you want to say that's a bad thing, but not really, because there's still a lot of people out there looking for a house. And again, if we see that maybe influx in population because of us opening businesses, things like that. We could see a lot of people coming from the Northeast to come to Florida because there's more work opportunities here. So, we do have some possible positives that could really impact our real estate market. And, we've had a good market for a couple of years now, and there's a possibility it could keep growing and getting better. But that's a little unforeseen, but we're hoping for the best, and we're still seeing good things happening.
Yeah, good things are happening, and as Diane alluded to earlier, she had mentioned that the inventory levels are low, and that leads to even less competition. COVID-19 is leading to less competition because a lot of people, I call every day, I talk to expired listings and for sale by owners, and a lot of them are saying, oh, we're just going to wait and see. So whenever people say I'm waiting and seeing, what that's doing is leaving opportunity for the sellers that want to get it done now, and of course the buyers are still out as well, Ray.
Right, and I don't really recommend the wait and see right now.
Yeah.
We've had an increasing market for years now. So wait and see. What are you waiting to see?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's going to either keep going up and getting better, or things are going to get bad. But it's not looking like it's going to go towards that bad market.
Yeah.
So be careful what you're waiting and seeing. If you want to refinance, right now values are high and interest rates are low. If you haven't refinanced in the past, several years, and you have an interest rate that's over, in the 4 or 5%, I would go, call Diane and see what they can do for you. Because right now, by waiting, you're not going to help yourself. And like I said, the values are there, so there's a good chance you can, refi in at that lower rate, maybe take some cash out to get some work done on the house and improve that value even more. So, strike while the iron's hot.
Hey, that's a good point. I want to mention that because a lot of times homeowners say, what if I had an extra 10 grand, 15 grand to put into this house, Ray? Give me the 1 through 5. Spend money here. Yeah. Don't waste money here.
Well, the big thing is always saying that, the kitchen and the bath.
Yeah.
I went into a house today where kitchen looked gorgeous. Rest of the house was just kind of lipstick.
Yep.
But the kitchen looked good. As the appraiser, I've still got to look at that area that's got the lipstick, but that kitchen is going to get that buyer.
It really is the heart of the home, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the heart, the central, that's the beating pulse.
Right. Kitchen and baths is where you really make that difference because I know it's two very unique rooms.
Yeah.
A living room is floor and paint. That's easy. You go into the kitchen and the bath, now you're looking at countertops, you're looking at cabinetry, you're looking at appliances, you're looking at fixtures. It's where you're going to spend the most money, but it's what stands out to those buyers.
Yeah.
And it stands out to your appraiser. So, that's the good areas to look at when you're, looking at what work to do. Now, this varies from neighborhood to neighborhood, so don't over-improve. Look at the high-end houses in your neighborhood and see what they're doing.
Right.
If they're doing laminate countertops, don't go and get quartz. You're not getting that money back.
Right. Let me ask you this. What if you have, for example, sometimes as realtors, we have a 3-bedroom, 1-bath property that just seems to not sell, or even worse, a 2-bedroom, 1-bath property that does not seem to sell. The days on the market can add up, and there's a lot of variables to the neighborhood, et cetera. But, given all things else, you got a decent sized lot, you maybe have a garage or a carport. What would it make sense to add a second bathroom if there's a way that you can convert a closet or convert some type of an outbuilding? Or
that's a great question. I get that a lot. And here's what I recommend. Call an appraiser. First of all, get a quote on see how much that's going to cost to do that renovation, to, put that bathroom in or put the extra bedroom in, and see what it's going to cost. Ask the appraiser to give you an ARV, an after repaired value. What's my house going to be worth if I put this bathroom in or if I put this bedroom in? If it's going to be worth less than, if that additional value is less than the cost, is it really worth doing it then? And what I would recommend first is, let's say you have that 2-bedroom, but you have a 2-bedroom and a den. See if you can put a closet in that den. It's a pretty easy thing to do. A contractor may be able to come and do that at a minimal cost. And if it's giving you an extra $5,000 in value, but maybe they're costing you $1,000 to do the work, then that's a job worth doing. I would say look at more stuff like that.
Let me ask you real quick on that point.
Sure.
If you have a large den, aka office, large room, hey, if we add an extra piece of drywall here, close it in, it's going to have a closet. Does that room have to have a window to be counted as a bedroom?
That goes with your local building code, but yes, they do have to have a window. In most places, yeah.
Most of the time.
Because you have to have that. The window's used as an emergency exit, so
Right.
most building codes do require you to do that.
Right.
But most dens have the window. Most rooms in a house
Right.
have that window.
Yeah.
That's usually just generally how they're built because of building codes.
Yeah. Good stuff. We're talking with Ray Hall here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Ray Hall, he's the owner of Ray Hall Appraisals here locally in Tampa Bay. And if you are, thinking about selling, thinking about buying, it's always a great time to reach out to Ray and take him up on his special offers for our listening audience.
Yeah, $150 for an owner-only appraisal. Again, it's called restricted use. It's
Yep.
only for your eyes only, but it'll give you that insight. So maybe you're thinking of doing a project, maybe you're thinking of listing. Give me a call, and I have software available now. You can send me all the interior information. You can send me all of the photos over a link, and then you can get a little bit more of a better overview on the property, a little better value, and it's not going to cost you anything extra, and keeps you safe from the virus we're trying to fight now. So
that's right. So you've heard from our 3 expert contributors on the show today: mortgage advice, credit improvement advice, and also an appraisal offer from Ray Hall Appraisals. So we like to have you take action. This show's a little bit different. It's more interactive than some of the other shows in terms of those text offers. Text mortgage, credit, or appraisal to 813-670-7372. Just simply call or text. If you're not a texter, just leave a voicemail and we'll get right back to you. But call or text and just let us know mortgage, credit, or appraisal. 813-670-7372, and we'll put you in touch with Diane Vance on the mortgage side. Maybe you want to get a second pre-approval or have a review done of what your other company is maybe offering and compare the different programs, compare the rates. Credit improvement, William Crowley, the credit magician, he can help you improve your credit scores and show you some of the things that are happening on your credit. And he's got a great program where he can help you do it on your own as well. And of course, Ray Hall offering that $150 special owner's only use appraisal. So 813-670-7372. And when we come back, we're going to jump into this feel-good story of the day. Find out the details about this teen that finds $135,000 next to an ATM and then does the right thing. He turns it in. We'll be right back here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com. And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Big shout out to our friends at Golf Cart Depot. Say hello to our friends Marty and his sales team over at Golf Cart Depot. They're delivering these golf carts directly to your home or office right now if you'd like to test drive. They've got the new Icon electric vehicles, Easy Go, Star EV, Cushman, pre-owned and remanufactured golf carts available from our friends at Golf Cart Depot of Florida. And they've got 2 locations, one in Clearwater, one in Land O'Lakes. Say hello to our friends at Golf Cart Depot. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you and take them up on those special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Every day we're going to tell you something positive in our feel-good story of the day. This one's a good one. We got a teen that finds $135,000 next to an ATM and he turns it in. Okay, so he's based out in, this is a story out of New Mexico. Jose Nunez, 19, was on a mission to buy socks for his grandfather. And when he could make the purchase, he stopped at an ATM outside of Wells Fargo, and he pulled along the machine and spotted a clear plastic bag on the ground that was filled with stacks of $50 and $20 bills. He said, "I didn't know what to do. It was like I was dreaming," he told CNN. "I was just in shock and looking and thinking, what should I do?" Instead of taking the cash, Nunez called the Albuquerque police and handed over the money. It totaled $135,000, and the police said that it was mistakenly left outside by a bank subcontractor. And he says Nunez is quoted by saying his parents always taught him to work for my own, and stolen money would never last. He just said it wouldn't feel right. But he goes on to talk about how the ESPN radio presented him with the signed sports memorabilia signed. So he got a football signed by former NFL and University of New Mexico linebacker Brian Urlacher, one of the great linebackers in NFL history. And then also he got 6 tickets for the UNM football, President Joe O'Neill said, and also 3 local businesses gave him $500 each, and a restaurant added a $100 gift card, and the Albuquerque Police Department presented Nunez with a plaque and offered him a job as he plans to major in criminal justice. So the story goes on and says his mom was proud of him as well. So cool story. I like that one. Feel good story of the day right there. Doing good out there.
Yeah, I would have been tempted. I give that kid credit.
That's a hard temptation right there.
That's, man.
Yeah.
I would worry about the camera that the banks have, but I think they would find me.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Great point. Everything's on camera nowadays.
Yep.
And the stress that you're going to go through just having that money in the closet, you know.
He walks off camera. He comes back with a hat and he grabs it and takes off. So, all right, let's jump into our lightning round here. We got Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, William Crowley, the credit magician, and also Ray Hall here in studio, Ray Hall Appraisals. So, ladies first, top tips, parting words of advice, Diane.
Well, I want to tell you, if you're paying rent $1,300 to $1,500, you can actually purchase more of a home now than you could 6 months ago. So every time the interest rates are down this low, you can purchase more of a home. So, why wait? The only reason you would wait is if you need to improve credit or save some money or something like that. But it's a good time to just find out what you can do.
Purchasing power is up. Reach out now. We'd love to put you in touch with Diane and her team. And also, the competition is low. So purchasing power is up, competition's low. It's a great time to be buying real estate. And there's lots of investment opportunities out there as well. William Crowley, the credit magician.
Yes, I agree with Diane. Don't pay rent if you can buy, and don't let credit become an obstacle, because legally you can overcome these challenges. And I'm talking about without filing bankruptcy, without entering debt consolidation or consumer credit counseling programs. You can use the Fair Credit Reporting Act and the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. Both of these consumer laws were created in the 70s, have been in existence, created by Congress to protect the consumer. Exercise your options with those two documents before you ever entertain the idea of a bankruptcy, consumer credit counseling, or debt consolidation. Fair Credit Reporting Act, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. That's the way to go.
Awesome. Good stuff. William Crowley, the credit magician. Also, Ray Hall here. Ray Hall in studio. Top tips.
Top tip, first of all, don't go into any of these investments without being sure of what your value is. You want to be careful. I've seen some people out there thinking they're getting a great deal right now because of the COVID-19, and they're not. So, if you're thinking of going into an investment, it's not a bad idea to have an appraiser. Again, I offer that $150 appraisal, and I can do that on any property. It doesn't have to be a property you occupy. I can help you out with that and try to give you a good idea of what that value is so you can go into it knowing, because you do want to be careful in these times. And like I said, if you're thinking of buying and thinking of refinancing, now's the time to do it, especially that refinance. You've got a lot of equity because of these increasing values. They haven't dropped yet that we've seen. So it's time to get on that ball and get that refinance done.
All right, good stuff. I'm going to talk about 5 tips to help you in negotiations. So real quickly, we're going to go through them here. Number 1 is create harmony. Whenever you're going into a negotiation, just remember that the counterpart is not some antagonistic relationship. You both have to collaborate to come to a positive ending where you're going to get, ultimately what you want to do. So when you enter these negotiations, remember the smiling effect. Be in a positive mode. Be happy, and that's going to create reciprocation, and that's going to also improve mental agility. You're both going to be much smarter when you're in a happy mood and you're keeping things positive. Number 2, emphatic listening. This was one of the Stephen Covey's 7 habits. It was seek first to understand and then to be understood. So the more that you listen and the other person understands that you're listening, the more that you're going to be accepted. Number 3, make sure you have powerful questions, probing questions. You're going to be asking questions that's going to lead your counterpart to where you want them to go. Open-ended questions are going to enable you to understand where the other side is coming from and what's important to them, and most importantly, what's motivating them. Number 4 is make sure you're pitching the proper party. Sometimes in negotiations, you're talking to the wrong person, you're negotiating with the wrong person, and you spend all this time, effort, and energy only to find out, oh, I got to find out what my uncle or my aunt or my mom or dad says. You might be pitching the wrong person, wasting a lot of time. You got to make sure you have total buy-in from all the parties involved. And then number 5, texting and emailing negotiations can be a very difficult and challenging thing because you're going to sometimes be misunderstood if you're texting and emailing. You're not able to evoke emotion properly, and it can cause problems when you're in that process of doing that. And I love this quote by former FBI hostage negotiator and show expert contributor, that guest on the show, Chris Voss. It's in times of difficulty, we don't rise to the occasion, we fall to our highest level of preparation. So that talks to the idea of role play and working with folks to improve your skills and constantly skilling up, getting your skills improved, and that's going to help you there as well. So there's my top tips in terms of negotiating the best possible deal for you and your clients. There we go. Ray's still with us.
Yeah, you just like I always tell people, be careful when it comes to your real estate deals. I know I see a lot of people out there who first of all, when that appraisal's done and it's below that contract price, don't look at that as a negative, and don't look at the appraiser as doing something wrong. Use that as a negotiation tool. You now have a professional who came out and said, well, it's not worth it. And we usually have around a 40-page document telling you why it's not. So maybe try to use that as negotiation, because if you're buying a house, you want to get the best deal possible. You want to take that emotion out of it. I always say no one goes to the car dealership trying to pay $20,000 over what the sticker price is, but a lot of people go into these real estate deals paying $10,000 over what they're asking. Why do that? That doesn't make sense. Everyone says this is your biggest investment. Well, don't go into this investment underwater, because it's not a very good one. So know what you're doing, educate yourself, learn real estate, talk to a professional, build a team, and go into it with some knowledge.
Yeah, that's the challenge. Is a lot of times people, they get emotions involved and they say, oh, I love that house, or I love that kitchen, as you made that example earlier. Yeah. They fall in love with the property, but then they start acting irrationally. That's one of the things that people don't realize how emotional beings we are, and then also we can be irrational when we think we're being irrational when we think we're being rational.
Right, exactly. And I see it all the time. And I've had people come to me saying, why don't you, this is a good deal because of this, that, and the other. And I always tell them, if we're having this conversation, it's not a great deal.
Yeah.
If it was a great deal, I wouldn't have been the obstacle. I'm not trying to come in low.
And you would have had multiple offers.
Exactly.
If it's that good a deal.
Exactly.
Right.
So if you're having to argue with the appraisal, it's not the best deal in the world. Trust me.
Yeah. That's the challenge that people have, and there's a lot of misconceptions when it has that. So I think we got Diane Vance back here. Diane, parting words of wisdom. Diane Vance, Fairway, Independent Mortgage.
I think I lost my Zoom. My internet was up, Zoom was down. So sorry about that. I am going to let the listeners know to give me a call, to no matter if you're employed or not employed, when you do go back to work, you are going to be able to purchase. And you may be surprised at how much you can purchase if one of the borrowers are actually, we may not need both of you, or you may get another co-signer or something like that. It's just now is a very good time because interest rates are so good. So you're gonna, your buying power is so good right now, so much better than it has been in the past. So it's a great time to start thinking and looking.
Yeah, great time to, especially for renters out there. If you're still renting, paying your landlord's mortgage, man, you got to get out of that position, get into ownership, own your property, own your financial future, own the appreciation that we are going to see here in Tampa Bay. And it's a great time for you to get into the market and also keep an eye out for duplexes and triplexes and quads. What a great purchase for you to turn from a renter to an owner and then also have other units to rent out and grow your wealth exponentially over the years by debt pay down combined with the appreciation buildup, plus the tax incentives that you'll see there as well. Hey, another great show. I want to thank Diane and Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, William Crowley, credit restoration expert, and Ray Hall Appraisals. Thanks so much. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness, do something kind for one another, and be a force for good in the community. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time.